How you guys doing? My name is Antwain Winters. I am a member of the Green Party, the Kansas City chapter. I'm a volunteer with the Outreach Committee, and I'm also a write-in candidate for United States Congress in the 5th District of Missouri. I'm going to be doing the Green Party Spotlight tonight, and I'll be highlighting a contract with Black America, which is a set of proposals, not by myself, but presented by rapper Ice Cube with help from a lot of other individuals. If you want to know who to give the credit for this legislation to, you can go to, you can search a contract with Black America. And this is not my work personally. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. And I'd also like to say that I'm paraphrasing because I have a small allotted time. And so I'm paraphrasing these proposals. So if you want more information about them and to look at them in full, you can search a contract with Black America on Google. Okay, thank you, everybody. The following proposals not only help Black America, they help all Americans. By helping the most disadvantaged group, America solidifies itself. The following is a set of 13 proposals that will do as such. A bill to guarantee Black opportunity and representation. We need to adopt a post-Reconstruction plan to address racism, segregation, Jim Crow, redlining, and predatory lending. The second proposal is bank lending reform. We need to regulate the banking sector to lend a percentage of 13.4%, which the number 13.4 you'll hear repeated, and that's the African-American population. So we feel like the thread is during this contract is that everything should be allotted to our population of the country. And the banking lending reform regulates the banking sector to lend a percentage up to 13.4% to Black Americans nationally, with the interest rate not to exceed that of any other Americans. And the number 3 is federal funding for a government-funded trust fund. We want to start up baby bonds. We want the government to fund these baby bonds at $1,000 initially, and every year till it equals up to $46,500. But these funds will be restricted for using buying a home, or you couldn't put it in the stock market. You'd have to buy a home or further your education. And that's number 3. Number 4 is to instruct the Federal Reserve to adopt modern monetary theory and instruct venture capitalists to invest up to 13.4% into Black-owned enterprises and provide a one-time tax-free home loan to Black Americans. That's the 4th proposal. The 5th proposal of the contract with Black America, we need financial oversight to monitor and report on Black and minority lending, housing, home ownership, mortgages, and we need an audit of the economic opportunity zones and community reinvestment acts to gauge their effectiveness and shortcomings. A lot have been made about the economic opportunity zones and how basically Black capitalism and promoting just free market won't fix the wage gap. And that's what number 5 gets at, I'm sorry. And number 6 would be to instruct credit report services to reevaluate scores to affect inequality by not penalizing the poor for late payments on utilities and rent, because we know these can affect, well, the poor, which are mostly Black, get affected with get affected with negative credit scores, and that keeps them from achieving upward mobility. So of course we need to do something in the credit sector, and that's what number 6 gets at. And not, I mean, you won't get a free pass for all your credit because everybody makes mistakes and you have to be penalized for it. So this would just basically restrict it to things that disadvantaged people might be penalized for, like payments on utilities and rent. And number 7 would be in a prison reform. Of course, we must abolish private prison systems, and we need to revisit the 13th Amendment to remove servitude as a punishment for crimes. I brought that up myself, and I don't think there's any way that we can abolish the private prison system without amending the 13th to take out servitude as a punishment, because that's the whole advantage, that's the whole incentive for the private prison system. And number 8 will be judicial reform. We must remove discriminatory mandatory minimums, 3-strike laws, and marijuana prohibition. And that's a paraphrase. Number 9, if you want full information on the judicial reform, then go to the A Contract with Black America page. But in a summary, we need to remove discriminatory mandatory minimums, 3-strike laws, and of course, marijuana prohibition. And shouts out to Mayor Q for doing that here. Number 9 would be policing reform. First of all, we need to give people, and I'm adding this, their 4th Amendment rights back by ending no-knock warrants. And the 4th Amendment right is what I added in there. The rest is attributed to the article. We need to mandate dash and body cams. We need to end qualified immunity for police. And we need to make municipalities liable for unconstitutional actions by officers, because cities are not going to keep wanting to pay these large lawsuits if it comes to that. And when people have to spend money, that's when people start paying attention. And that was number 9. And also part of the policing reform, but like an affidavit into it, is to, instruct the Department of Defense to allocate 5% of its budget to minority affairs for reasons of national defense, like civil unrest. And I've actually pondered this myself. I mean, that's part of the Departments of Defense's duty, to make sure America stays whole and solid. So being preemptive about civil unrest, and not in nefarious or authoritative ways, but in ways that, nurture society like this. So they don't have to plan, the Department of Defense doesn't have to plan for civil unrest with just, authoritative measures. They can actually nurture civility by solidifying the most disadvantaged. And that's what I get out of that part with the DOD, and I've thought the same myself. And the number 10 of the Contract with Black America would instruct the FCC to require broadcast networks to air 20%, to allocate 20% of their network's time to minority programming and advertisement institutions. And this is a little bit more than 13%, it's 20%. And what I get from this is the media controls your exposure, and the media controls the image they put out there for you. If the FCC allows minority-owned media companies and media personalities to represent themselves, then the American public will get a more unfiltered, mature view of American, and not through a proxy. And that's what I get from number 10. Now, I'm going to be going off camera right here, but I'm still with you because I didn't get a chance to paraphrase 11, and 12. And I'm sorry, everybody, but 11 is an elimination of all Confederate statues in America. Basically, that's, self-explanatory, eliminating all Confederate statues in America where they be, and establishing a national monument to Blacks killed by police brutality. I had it here actually on my page too. And number 12 with the contract with Black America is, I'm sorry, I had to make sure I'm back here, is for Black Americans to do some introspection ourselves. We need to lead by example. We need to, equity isn't just a buzzword. And this is my interpretation of this. We need to take equity in our neighborhoods by caring about our neighborhoods, by caring about our neighbors. We need to practice solidarity. We need to give a helping hand. We need to volunteer more into our communities. We shouldn't always have to go out for people in the community to be served. And I've talked about this myself. I mean, it takes a village, and we need to start practicing that mantra. And my summary of this, I mean, a lot of these ideas are really good. It's not, I mean, the author says, and the promoter of it, Ice Cube, he says it's not reparations per se, but I mean, if people want to look at it like that, they can. If they don't want to look like it, they don't. But me, myself, I think that, reparations per se for, Black and indigenous people, it's both legislative and financial. And does anybody have any questions?
This idea of a national monument to Blacks killed, I just, was wondering about more information on that. Did you hear?
You said you want more. You said you want more information on the monuments, the proposal to erect the monument to Black Americans killed by police.
Oh, that's by police. Okay. Would that, I mean, how about lynchings or, things like that too?
The bill also includes anti-lynching language, and that's already been passed. It has an anti-lynching language in there, and that's something that's been passed, I believe, in Congress and in the Senate. And I think I know it's been passed because somebody I admire, Justin Amash, he actually voted against it. So yeah, it did pass the anti-lynching bill, and part of that was the designating the Ku Klux Klan a terrorist organization. And if for anybody that's been paying attention to the news, before the debates, that was in President Trump's proposal. So I think people have been looking at this, and and it does borrow a lot from things working through the pipeline.
Nathan,
Next question.
you can't hear you.
I think that it does seem like this is a lot of this does speak to the reparations that I think is necessary and has long been a Green Party we've been very supportive in the Green Party of African American reparations. I think that it's very important to it, and it's very important that I think that this speaks to the modern monetary theory, because we're talking about spending some money here, and I think that it recognizes that we can do that, and we've got the resources to do that and to make right what has been so wrong for so long. So, I just really, I think it's, pretty good. These type of laundry lists of things are starting points for discussion. So, I think that it's a great starting point for discussion and a great starting point for legislation.
More discussion. We have about 4.5 minutes. So we're doing good.
I would interject that one of the things that I've been bringing up on different levels of the Green Party in terms of the prolongation of the Green Party, and what does the Green Party do in between the 4-year intervals when we're electing a president? How do we act as a group? And my vision of the Green Party would be more of a fraternal organization built up from the local on up to the national. We would have strong local clubs like this one, but that would maybe model a different economic model than the one that we're trying to follow, or we're trying to be like a miniature Democratic Party, which has 131 billionaires supporting it currently. So we're not going to be able to raise our money that way, as a Green Party. But many of the things that you were talking about as being a party that is that interacts on the local level to deal with local needs of all the minority groups, not just the black, but also, I'm getting noisy again here. So anyway, I would say that it also needs to be extended, I think, to the American Indians and other groups that may be suffering to some degree as much as the blacks are.
Oh yeah,
but
More discussion.
We do have.
Yeah, I like to say that. I mean, I understand. I understand where it's come from. I mean, and I understand where you come from, but we as people, and we as children, we learn as children, not, when someone is suffering, not to always point the finger, at me. So I think that, as us acting like civilized, empathetic adults, if, all of us can once just stop saying, what about me? I think of it like a child. If my child always said, well, what about me? That's a ungrateful child, and that's a very self-centered child.